What if you could turn your emotional struggles into your greatest strengths? What if the anger that burns you, the anxiety that grips you, the frustration that derails your day, could actually become the fuel for an unshakable mind? 2,000 years ago, a Roman emperor who faced plague, war, and betrayal wrote this in his private journal. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. That emperor was Marcus Aurelius, and today I'm going to show you exactly how to build that power using 5 battle-tested Stoic techniques that have been validated by modern psychology. Stay until the end, because I have a challenge for you that could change your life in just 7 days. Let's clear something up first. When most people hear Stoic, they think of a man who suppresses his emotions, a stone-faced robot who feels nothing. That's not Stoicism, that's emotional avoidance, and it's actually destructive. The ancient Stoics Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, Epictetus were deeply feeling, deeply human men. Marcus Aurelius experienced grief, anger, and fear. Seneca wrestled with anxiety. Epictetus, who was born a slave and walked with a limp from his leg, being broken by his master, knew suffering intimately. They didn't teach us to suppress emotions. They taught us to understand them, to reframe them, and ultimately to master them. Here's the key insight. Stoicism isn't about feeling less. It's about responding better. Modern cognitive behavioral therapy, one of the most effective psychological treatments we have, was directly inspired by Stoic philosophy. What these ancient philosophers discovered through wisdom, science has now confirmed through research. So let's get practical. Here are 5 Stoic techniques to build genuine emotional resilience. Epictetus opened his most famous work, the Enchiridion, with these words: "Some things are within our power, and some things are not." This is the foundation of everything. Within your control are your judgments, your actions, your responses, your effort, and your character. Outside your control are other people's opinions, the economy, traffic, your boss's mood, the weather, and the past. Here's where most men go wrong. We exhaust ourselves trying to control the uncontrollable. We rage at traffic. We obsess over what people think. We replay conversations we can't change, and we feel powerless because we've handed our power to things that were never ours to control. The Stoic practice is simple but profound. When you feel stress, anxiety, or anger rising, pause and ask yourself one question: is this within my control or outside it? If it's outside your control, release it. Not because it doesn't matter, but because your energy is wasted there. Redirect that energy to what is within your control, your response. Your coworker criticizes your work? You can't control their words, but you can control whether you improve, respond professionally, or let it consume you. You get rejected? You can't control their decision, but you can control how you show up next time. Let's say you're stuck in traffic and you're going to be late for an important meeting. The traffic is outside your control, and getting angry won't move a single car. What's in your control? Calling ahead, preparing your opening remarks mentally, deciding not to let this derail your entire day. This isn't passive acceptance. This is strategic redirection of your energy toward what actually matters. Seneca wrote to his friend Lucilius, "Rehearse them in your mind: exile, torture, war, shipwreck. Nothing happens to the wise man against his expectation." This is premeditatio malorum, the premeditation of adversity, and it sounds counterintuitive. Why would imagining bad things make you stronger? Here's why it works. Most of our emotional suffering comes from the gap between expectation and reality. We expect the day to go smoothly, and it doesn't. We expect people to behave reasonably, and they don't. We expect our plans to work, and they fail. That gap creates shock, and shock amplifies pain. When you briefly visualize challenges before they happen, you close that gap. You prepare your mind. You reduce the element of surprise that turns setbacks into catastrophes. Here's how to practice this. Each morning, take 2 to 3 minutes and ask yourself, what could go wrong today and how would I handle it? Maybe the meeting doesn't go well. Maybe someone cancels on you. Maybe you receive criticism. Don't dwell in negativity. Just acknowledge possibilities, then mentally rehearse your response. If this happens, I will respond calmly. I will adapt. I will move forward. The Stoics called this stress inoculation, and modern psychology confirms it works. Navy SEALs use similar mental rehearsal techniques before missions. But there's a second benefit. When you imagine losing what you have, your health, your relationships, your comforts, you actually feel more grateful for them now. You stop taking the good things for granted. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Strip away the legend that encrusts events." Here's what he meant. When something happens, we don't just experience the event, we wrap it in a story. We add interpretation, judgment, catastrophizing. Someone cuts you off in traffic. That's the event. A car changed lanes in front of you. But the story, that guy disrespected me. He thinks he's more important. People are terrible. This always happens to me. The event took 2 seconds, but the story ruined your next 2 hours. This technique is called objective representation or descriptive detachment. You describe events in neutral, factual language, stripping away the emotional narrative. I was insulted becomes a person said words expressing disapproval. My day was ruined becomes an unexpected event occurred that required me to change my plans. I failed becomes the outcome differed from my goal. I know this might sound cold, but it's actually liberating. You're not denying your emotions. You're creating space between the event and your reaction. In that space, you have choice. You have power. Here's the practice. Next time something triggers you, pause and describe it like a scientist observing data. Just the facts. No adjectives. No story. Then choose your response intentionally rather than reacting automatically. This next one is advanced, and it might challenge you. Amor fati means love of fate. The Stoics taught that we shouldn't just accept what happens. We should embrace it, even love it. Epictetus put it this way, don't seek for things to happen as you wish. Wish for things to happen as they do, and you will go on well. Now, this isn't toxic positivity. This isn't pretending everything is fine when it's not. It's a recognition that every setback, every obstacle, every painful moment carries within it the seeds of growth. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." That rejection that crushed you, it redirected you somewhere better. That failure that embarrassed you, it taught you what success never could. That pain you thought would destroy you, it forged your strength. Think about the hardest things you faced in your life, and now think about who you became because of them. Would you trade the wisdom, the strength, the depth you gained? Amor fati isn't about passive surrender, it's about active transformation. It's saying, this happened, I cannot change it, but I can extract every ounce of value from it. When something goes wrong, try this. After the initial reaction passes, say to yourself, good, this is exactly what I needed. Then ask, how can this serve me? What can I learn? How does this make me stronger? This reframe doesn't minimize the difficulty, it maximizes your response to it. Seneca practiced this final technique every night. He wrote, "When the light has been removed and my wife has fallen silent, I examine my entire day and go back over what I've done and said." This is the practice that ties everything together. Each evening before sleep, take 5 minutes to review your day with 3 questions. First, what did I do well today? Acknowledge your victories, even small ones. You chose patience when you could have reacted. You focused when you could have been distracted. This builds momentum. Second, where did I fall short? Not to beat yourself up, but to see clearly. Where did you lose control? Where did you react instead of respond? Where did you forget the principles you're building? Be honest, but be kind. As Seneca said, I shall do the same thing tomorrow, examining my day. Third, what will I improve tomorrow? This transforms failure into feedback. You're not stuck in the past, you're using it to build the future. This practice develops metacognition, which is awareness of your own mind. Over time, you start catching yourself in real time. You notice the anger rising before it controls you. You see the anxious thought before it spirals. That awareness is the gap between stimulus and response, and in that gap lies your freedom. Now here's your challenge. For the next 7 days, I want you to practice just one of these techniques consistently. Pick the one that resonates most, the dichotomy of control, where you ask, is this within my control, whenever stress arises? Negative visualization, where you spend 3 minutes each morning preparing for potential challenges. Objective representation, where you describe triggering events in neutral, factual language. Amor fati, where you respond to setbacks with good, how does this serve me? Or the evening review, where you spend 5 minutes before bed answering those 3 questions. Choose one and practice it for 7 days, not perfectly, but consistently. Then I want you to come back here and share your results in the comments. What changed? What did you notice? What surprised you? Because here's what I know, knowing this information means nothing, but applying it changes everything. The Stoics weren't philosophers who wrote nice ideas. They were practitioners who forged their character through daily discipline. Marcus Aurelius wrote his meditations not for an audience but for himself, every morning reminding himself how to live, every evening accounting for how he did. Emotional resilience isn't something you're born with. It's something you build, rep by rep, day by day, challenge by challenge. The man who practices these principles doesn't become emotionless. He becomes unshakable, not because he doesn't feel pain, but because he's trained himself to transform it. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, very little is needed to make a happy life. It is all within yourself, in your way of thinking. Start your 7-day challenge today. Drop a comment with which technique you're choosing, and I'll see you on the other side stronger. If this video helped you, hit subscribe. I share Stoic wisdom and practical philosophy every week to help you build the mindset of a resilient man. Check the description for resources on getting started with Stoicism, and I'll see you in the next one.